I'd like to have a different impact depending on the audience. First and foremost, I definitely want to make them laugh a little bit. There's a lot of funny things that I've experienced in my career and as a kayaker, and I think it's important to keep it light a little bit because it's the Olympics, not something super serious. I think it's important to humanize Olympians a little bit. When I see an Olympian speak and they are still up on that podium, then I kind of feel really far away from them. But I think if we humanize our Olympians and make them, part of the audience in a way, then I think that does a lot for their character and for their story. Well, whatever they can, I suppose. I just tell my story. There's inspiring moments, there's motivational moments, and there's moments that are emotional for me. There's, and really my story is a little bit different every time I tell it because, I've been speaking for about 6 or 7 years and I've been racing for the past 16. So, I've been talking about different things that happened. I haven't really related my 2011 story to anybody on stage yet so much because it only really happened about a month ago and I haven't had an opportunity to really formulate, what I'm going to talk about. But I won the World Championships this year and there's a lot of good stories that came along with it. I think, the different kinds of audiences bring different sorts of energy. I really like speaking to children, obviously. I've done a lot of school visits, and that's where I really sort of learned how to speak in front of an audience. And I think speaking in front of certain age groups with children and young adults is actually more difficult in some ways to relate. And sometimes I've gone to a school and had 2 or 3 talks to 2 or 3 different age categories all at once or throughout the day, and I find that really difficult, kind of switching gears, going from a bunch of kindergarten kids where you're just supposed to be funny and fun to a bunch of 13, 14-year-olds later on in the day where you're trying to be a role model or something like that and tell your stories in an impactful manner that they can take some kind of motivational kind of lesson away with. And speaking to corporate audiences, I always try and have a valuable message, something that maybe relates to their type of work or at least vocation in some way. Relating sport and business to one another isn't actually that difficult. They're both high energy endeavors. They're both about winning and losing and really taking risks. So I think there's a lot of very natural corollaries between sport and business. I just kind of look around. I think it's an opportunity when I walk into a room, if I can sort of look in the audience. One of my, secrets, and I'll give this away, is if it's more than 50% women, then I'll concentrate on stories with my mom, and if it's more men, then maybe I'll talk about my dad a little bit more often. Because as an athlete and competing as an athlete, my parents were very important to me. And I just want it to be natural, obviously. But I just find that women get a little bit more out of the mom stories, and likewise, dads get a little bit more out of the dad stories. Whereas if I'm speaking to teenagers or university students, then I can talk to them from my perspective as a son of parents rather than from the perspective of parents, or trying to relate. So just trying to relate to the audience, talk to them in a manner that they'll digest. And when it's a corporate audience, I find that I've probably done more corporate talks than anything else, except for maybe school visits. But finding that balance and that key message, that sort of something that they're looking for, where you can kind of feel the audience kind of nodding along with you. That's when you kind of know you've hit it a little bit. So it was mostly women. It was probably 75% women between the ages of 38 and 55 kind of thing. And after a few glasses of wine, these women felt it was appropriate somehow to bid on me and to suggest that I remove my shirt after my talk. So we did a little bit of math, and I suggested that they pool their cash and make a donation to a charity of their choice. And I think we raised a couple of $1,000. And I didn't take off my undershirt to their chagrin, but I'm not a Chippendales stripper or anything, but